Hi, I'm Brittney King.
And I'm Lisset King. And welcome to Honest Feedback, a podcast for people looking for a different perspective and some feedback on real life issues that you've got going on. Brittney and I are married, and we have found that people in our lives reach out to both of us. And so we thought we'd put together a little podcast and support our community.
Yes, because sometimes you just need that other perspective that's like, whoa. You're like, I never saw it like that.
And people come to us in our lives individually and often together, oftentimes because Brittney is just super connected to herself, her core. She's the most compassionate listener that I could ever dream of. And so people come to be felt and met with love.
Thank you, baby. I so appreciate that. I just feel like people also come to you because you're an emotional ninja. You're an alternative therapist that's like you guys, it's no joke. It's like, do you have a problem? She will get inside your mind and Jedi mind trick you, and you're like, the problem does not exist. There is no problem. Yes, but the way that you know how the brain works, and yeah, you're just amazing at helping people see outside of their problems. Yes. So
thank you. Yeah, that's why people come to us, and so we decided to put together a little podcast to support you, to support our community, and anyone who can use some different eyes on their problems.
Yes, instructions from outside of the box.
Yes, that's what we're here for.
Yes, absolutely. So today we have a really dynamic caller. We're going to only take one call because she is jam-packed with a lot of things going on for her. There's some stuff about money. There's some stuff about a living situation and family of origin. And I do want to give a trigger warning. There is mention of suicide ideation and suicidal thoughts. So if that is not something that feels good to listen to in this moment, please take care of yourself. We'd love for you to check out one of our other episodes. And with that, we are going to jump into this caller.
Hi, this is losing her shit. My pronouns are her, she, her, and I've been going through this huge growth surge since I guess I turned 30, and I'm really proud of how far I've come, and I was really happy with the kind of life I was building for myself when I had a roommate here, living, and I had recently had a falling out with them, and I had to move in with family out of necessity because I didn't have the money to move into another apartment. A lot of the prices where I live have gone up, and I worked one full-time job that was deteriorating, so I had to find another one. But I couldn't, so I found a part-time job, and now I have a part-time job and a full-time job. So I don't have a day off, and I'm making okay money, but I still can barely afford to live on my own, at least without a roommate. So I've been living with family, which has been really hard because they're very toxic, and I love them, and they're not bad people, but they're just toxic. And I feel like I don't know how to keep going. I'm trying really hard to just focus on work, but I know that I'm neglecting myself, but I don't feel comfortable where I'm staying. I don't feel like I can be comfortable. I don't have peace here, and I'm grateful that I'm not homeless, but it's so sucky. I just don't know. I've been trying for a long time to find another apartment even before I had to leave. And it was hard. Things didn't work out, and I understand that everything happens for a reason. I'm not mad about it, but I'm just I don't feel like it's almost really hard. I'm struggling so much, and I don't feel I feel out of character because I'm neglecting myself, and I got so used to just being. This is not a cry for help. Technically it is, but I used to be really suicidal, and I haven't been for a long time. And I'm not saying it's easy all the time to not be that way. I've had to correct my thinking a lot, but I have had fleeting thoughts of things lately. But my point is that I just don't know how to keep up my strength or my faith in myself. Because literally, I feel like I'm losing it. It's only been about a month. I'm exhausted. I'm so exhausted. I'm trying really hard to focus on the little things and enjoy my life every day as much as possible, but it's getting harder. And things just keep not working out.
That was losing my shit.
Yeah.
I feel her.
Yeah.
My heart goes out to you losing my shit. Like, oh.
Yeah. There's so much in here. I do just want to let our audience know we reached out to the scholar earlier just to make sure that they were okay, and they are. And now we're going to take the opportunity to answer their question. So, yeah, I understand how hard it is to do growth work that gets you above and beyond, and like you start to move away and realize that you don't have the same thought processes as your family, and then to be put right back in that really challenges that growth and really pokes at the wound of, am I even getting any better, and feeling stuck. So gosh, it's so difficult when, like you said, no one's bad in your family. It's just toxic for you. Like the way they're being is not serving how far you've come in your growth. And it sounds like you moved away from really deep depression where it was challenging for you to go on with your life, reform some wonderful positive things, and now you're feeling stuck and back in that. That's really difficult. And first thing, I just want to tell you that how you're feeling is completely valid, and there's nothing wrong with what you're expressing. And just really want you to start with being very kind to yourself on your growth journey. You have not slipped back. It takes even more effort to stay strong in light of not having support around you. You know, environment affects how we feel first and foremost. And so being surrounded by that, I'm so sorry that you weren't able to keep up your living situation. And having two jobs as someone who used to overwork, it took me about, I think it was 9 weeks I went without a day off before I had a full breakdown. I too was suicidal, and I reached out to help to my sister, thank God. And I just told her what was going on, and she's like, hey, I just want you to drop everything and come see me. And having that support to break me out of that and just know that I was held was incredible. And the burnout is real. So, yeah, I just want to start with that. Like, how you feel is valid. And we'll get to some solutions. What do you got to say so far?
Oh, losing my shit. I just want to give you a big hug and let you know you are not alone. Like, I was you, am you. Like, I know the place that you're talking about so deeply. It was, my mom was passing. She was like in the closer to the final stages of her life. I lost my mom to cancer, and my mom asked me to move back into her house, and she was just like, can you please move back? Both of my other sisters lived at her home at the time, and she was like, please move back. And I had done a lot of growth work because I too had family dynamics that were toxic to me and really crushing to my soul. And I was working with a therapist, and I was like, my mom really wants me to move back, so like I gotta move back. And she was like, are you sure? Like, I mean, she was supportive, but I felt the energy of like, I'm just not sure that's a good idea. And I was similar to you. I was there for 1 month and I was getting broken down so deeply that several of the things that you mentioned were coming up for me. Like the thoughts of like, I wasn't quite at suicidal ideation, but my feelings of worthlessness, of not being good enough, of constantly failing, of I deserve to be mistreated or abused, those things were showing up. And I knew for my mental health, like it was not healthy for me to stay there. And so I reached out for help. I talked to my therapist because I was like, I can't do this. I can't do this anymore. And like, this is hurting me. And she empowered me and helped me to have a conversation with my mother. And I appreciated her so much. Shout out to Jamila. Like, to have a conversation of like why the situation was not healthy for me and why I needed to go. And it was challenging because from the outside, I felt like I got a lot of very intense feedback of like, you are not a good daughter. You are hateful and selfish. And how dare you, because your mother is dying, so you should be there. Like, there. And it really wasn't healthy for me to continue to be in that environment. I was going to die there too if I continued to stay. So what really comes to me is your mental health is of the utmost importance. It's of the utmost importance. And like, we need to put that as a priority. In your message, I counted 3 times that you said you were neglecting yourself and that this was an area that you had worked on when you were living with a roommate outside of your family home. You worked on giving to yourself. And since moving back in with your family, 2 or 3 times you said, I'm neglecting myself. I'm not comfortable. I can't find peace. These things, I feel like, are really detrimental to one's soul. And like the tear that it's going to take on you is much more than money, you know? And so my first piece of advice is, how do we support you in figuring out how to get out of this living situation? I know it's really hard. Housing prices are crazy right now. Mm-hmm. And there might not be the most ideal situation, but it's like, can you do more than one roommate? Like maybe it's a 3-bedroom apartment. Mm-hmm. Can you look at maybe even like a combo situation of like, I don't know how much experience one has to have, but I remember when I used to lease apartments, you got a discount on the apartments at the apartment complex by being a leasing agent. And then it's like, hey, maybe you could have one job. Mm-hmm. It offers a discount for housing. Mm-hmm. And then you can get a situation where there's a roommate there and you guys are each paying less rent than it would be ordinarily. Mm-hmm. I definitely want to support you and empower you of figuring out what is the best way to get out of that situation. Is there another extended family member or family friend or something who you feel more comfortable with that you could maybe go to and explain the situation? Mm-hmm. You know, I understand it can be very difficult to talk about these kinds of things, but I'm really not happy at home. I really need help. Is there an arrangement? Can I stay with you for a couple months and maybe pay like a reduced rent while I sort myself out, get myself on my feet? My heart goes out to you, and I just feel like your mental health is of the utmost importance.
Yeah, I also want to encourage you to, of course, we are here for you, and there's only so much we can do in one episode, to get help, to get therapy. And I know that therapy can sometimes feel elusive and out of reach, especially if you're in dire financial straits. However, at that time, you were able to find a therapist on a sliding scale. Yes. Perhaps you can...
Yes, I am not sure where you are located. If it's a bigger city, when I went to therapy, it was on a sliding scale in Los Angeles at a beautiful center called the Relational Center, and they had a sliding scale. And so that was how I was able to afford therapy. But there are other sliding scale places, and figuring out like how you can get therapy.
Yeah, getting regular help or just having someone you can talk to outside of your family will just give you an outlet, because I know what it's like to be in a place where you feel stuck and you can't talk to anyone and you just feel like you're hitting a wall. And I'd love to encourage you to get yourself to a space where you at least have one day off a week, because the burnout, it was hard. It was really hard for me. And so I know what's possible, and we really just want you to be in a good, healthy place. I know what it's like to feel stuck and to think this is the only way out, or this is the only thing I can do. I'm just going to encourage you to, if you can adopt this, I believe there are infinite solutions. There are absolutely infinite solutions. And because I believe that, I get to see them everywhere. And so looking and thinking, going, this is not the only thing. Even if it's just not infinite solutions, but somewhere in between, of like, this is not the only thing I can do. And where I'm at, I'm not stuck. I can find something else to do. I can find a different paying job. I can find, maybe I'll look on Craigslist and find like 4 roommates that are looking for one person. Just do your research, do your work to move yourself out of that environment. And I know that's challenging, and I just want to give you some hope, because as someone who's been there, feeling stuck financially, feeling stuck emotionally, feeling stuck at my job, like, I'm just telling you from the other side, it is possible to get out. And with love and compassion for your family, they're just not serving you, and you deserve to change your environment.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I want to give you some perhaps tangible action steps of like, what can I do right now? So I would say, 1, let's look for sliding scale therapy, or free or a low cost therapy. Even if they're like, we can only see you once a month, do it as much as you can. So therapy.
Also, there are apps for low-cost therapists.
That's a resource. While you are looking for another living situation, how can you carve out a space of peace for yourself in the home that you're in? Is that meditation? Is that therapy? Is that I am going to go to ecstatic dance at the park once a week? Is that I need to make sure I take like a candlelit bath? Like, where is a place that you can find peace, even if it's just an hour a week? I would love for you to try to work up to some kind of daily practice where it's like 15 minutes, I have a space of peace for myself, if it's yoga. So like, how do we create peace for yourself in your current schedule, in your current living situation? And yes, is there someone you can reach out to for an alternative situation of like, can I visit you for an extended period of time? Is there another place? I also grew up in a situation where it was like, you had several best friends and like their mom was like your mom. And it was like, I'm going to be staying at my other mom's house for a while because that's what's needed. Do you have any other actionable steps that losing her shit might be able to take?
Yes. To add to that, at the time, my sister offered me solace, and she was like, hey, you can come stay with me for 6 months. And that was her offer. She's like, you can stay with me for 6 months. If you like living here, I went from New Jersey to California. She says, if you like living here, you can find your own place. And if you don't like it, then you can always go back to Jersey. And in that moment, given that opportunity, that one, like I saw that lifeline, I really, that was the beginning of the rest of my life. That was the beginning of me knowing that I didn't have to stay there and starting a whole new life for myself, finding new friends and new ways to live. And if changing your environment is step one, step 1B. And then when you're out of that environment, also getting help and choosing. So it could be as much as like a book that can teach you insightful ways. Like mentors don't have to be in person.
Yes.
If you if you read a good book, or you find a podcast, or you find someone who is thinking the way you want to think, that resonates with how you want to think, they start to feel like friends. They start to feel like people that are there for you. And they are. Like anyone who writes a book, we're putting out this podcast because we want to be of service. We want to be a resource for people who might be feeling alone or stuck like you. So they know they're not so alone. And we're not by any means perfect. We've just been through some shit. I too have been losing my shit. And you'd be surprised the kindness of strangers, the kindness of family members. Maybe you have a cousin across the country that invites you to come stay with them, even for a month or something. Like it's possible, it's available. Just open your mind to there are other options. Always think there are other options, so that the second you think there are other options, your reticular activating system, the part of your brain that looks for evidence, it's the same part of your brain that when you buy a car or you're in a car, all of a sudden you see all the other cars that are exactly like it. That part of your brain turns on to look for evidence of different options and different opportunities. And so I offer you that, to focus on what are my other options. And some of them won't be good. Some of them will be a terrible idea. And at the same time, it's just knowing that there's another option starts to create what's possible, instead of this is all I have and this is all that's available to me.
Yes. You're on the right track. You reached out for help. You said, I don't know if I have the strength to go on. And you reached out and said, hey, help. That's huge. A lot of people don't even reach out for help. So you're on the right path. And I just want to remind you, like, keep going. Yeah. You can do it. We both have been where you are.
Yes.
Working 4 jobs.
Yeah.
Like trying to figure it out, trying to piece it together. And we have successfully been able to navigate out of immediately toxic situations to much better situations. So I believe in you. Yeah. I believe you can do this. Thank you so much for reaching out for help. Yes.
I would actually like to speak about that a little more.
Yeah.
We've not always been where we are. If I can talk about when I met you.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
When I met Brittney, she was working 4 jobs and perpetually broke. Yes. And burnt out and just constantly tired, and yet like go. She always had the fire to be someone just like you. For you to work 7 days a week, you have good work ethic. You've got something. That's all you need to move forward. Like that is a big thing. And it was the gift of the pandemic. I got a download during a meditation from my higher self to quit the rat race.
Yes.
And take off and like do something different. And it just brought a lot of light to us that we didn't have to be where we were. And I was doing jobs to make ends meet, from a place of have to. And when we stopped doing that, opportunities came. And there's something that happens when you stop doing what doesn't serve your highest light, that other things go, oh, she's serious. Here's another opportunity. Here's a different opportunity. And we just kept taking steps in faith. And it was scary. There were days we cried. We were holding each other crying, going, I don't know where the next dollar is going to come from, or where we're going to stay next, or what's going on. But we took steps. And we tell you this not for any other reason other than to impress upon you that there's another way.
Infinite ways.
Infinite ways.
Infinite ways that things can go, infinite ways for things to be working out in your way, infinite ways for the universe to surprise and delight you. Mm-hmm. Yes, infinite, infinite, infinite. I feel like also what you're saying is like stepping away from what doesn't serve you and step towards what does. Where are the places that you were finding peace? Where are the places that you were feeling comfortable? Where are the places that you were giving to yourself? Like, how do you spend more time in those spaces, in those energies, doing those kinds of things, you know?
Yeah.
And it might be like, I need to change the kinds of jobs I'm having, you know? I need to change this. I need to change that. Like, and then allow yourself to be surprised with how the opportunities open up for you.
Yes. And when you said you were going through your growth surge and you were feeling happy, I know you weren't doing that in a vacuum. So was there anyone in your life that was supporting you, reflecting magic back to you? Those people still exist. So is there any, I'm assuming, so please forgive me. There's someone who is supporting you in that way or can support you, and reach out to those people and make sure that they're also feeding your psyche, because like the family feeding toxicity, and maybe there's people who you feel really good just talking to them, you know, an hour. You can reach out and just say, hey, I'm in a tough spot. Can you talk to me? Mm-hmm. And people want to help. People really want to help. When my sister helped me, I truly believe she saved my life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shout out to Alex.
Yeah. Shout out, sis. I love you. Yeah. So definitely, I feel you. I understand you. I honestly hope and believe that there's someone out there who wants to help you. And full disclosure, to get these podcasts started, we reached out to our network. So this person is in my network, and I am telling you on camera, reach out to me. I would love to give you the hand up that my sister handed me. So you got one right here. I love you.
Yes. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
I really appreciate losing my shit, reaching out to us, because like,
oh yeah, yeah.
It is like I've been there,
Mm-hmm.
and like I feel like it's like that in between step where you're like, the things I used to do aren't serving me, but I don't feel my hand all the way up yet. Like I'm reaching and I haven't grabbed anything yet, and like this is the moment, like the leap, like in Batman where he doesn't have the ring around his belt.
And he jumps. Was that Dark Knight?
I don't know. It's the one after Heath Ledger.
Christian Bale.
Yeah, but still the one after Heath Ledger.
The one after. I think it's Dark Knight. I don't know.
Whatever.
That Batman movie.
That Batman where he leaps and he has to let go of the safety net to reach the other side, and he's able to climb out to freedom. And so like it's been my experience of growth work like that, where you're just like, I have to reach, and there is a point of like trusting, because you're like, I don't know, it doesn't seem like things are working out, and then all of a sudden it's like,
yeah.
That's like the Matrix.
Several movie references in this episode. Yeah.
Yes, I believe things work out, but there is that moment where you're like, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I just thought of another example. In the book, Atomic Habits, he was talking about how things are cumulative, and there is that point of like the plateau that you have to push through. So if you want to melt an ice cube and you're raising the temperature to like 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, and you're like, you know what? Nothing's happening. It is still here, and it's like, oh. But you know what happens at 32? Melting.
Is it 32 or 33?
32 is freezing.
Yes.
Okay, so 33. 33. The melting starts. But it took all the steps below it for that to start. Mm-hmm. But like at that point, things get different. And then before you know it, it's a puddle. Yeah. You know? It the flow happens quickly once we pass that tipping point, but you got to get past the tipping point.
Yes.
So I feel you on that seesaw. I'm
Yeah.
just throwing out things now.
I know. One thing I just want to call back, like that really deep, dark time in my life. Had I given in to those darker thoughts, I wouldn't be here, and I wouldn't be happy and loving and doing what I love. But I think those parts are necessary. They're the parts that have created the most contrast for my life now, where I can be in such deep gratitude. So just know that, like, there are moments, we like to call them fertilizing, when you're deep in your shit. And for the seed to grow, it needs darkness. It literally needs shit sometimes. But there's always a poke through to the light, you know? And I'm grateful that I'm here, and I'm grateful that you're here. And because you're still here, there's a reason for you to be here. And I know you're close.
Yeah.
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 Yes, and on that note, if you or anyone you know needs help, the suicide hotline prevention number is 1-800-273-8255. Again, that number is 800-273-8255. It's just a wonderful resource for anyone who's in darkness. They are trained professionals. They know what to say. So please, 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 if you're listening to this and you feel anything, if you need a sign, this is it.
This is a sign.
Yeah.
Yes.
You belong here.
Yes. You're not alone. You're not alone.
Huh.
Wow. Losing her shit really gave us a beautiful opportunity to touch on a lot of things. And so sending love to her and to the younger me who was also losing her shit and struggling with mental health, and the younger you.
Yes.
And
losing her shit is all of us.
yes.
There's only one of us here, and we have been there. So thank you for being here with us. And thank you for being here.
Yeah. Yes. So we look forward to speaking with you all again soon. We would love for you to leave us a voicemail with your name, your pronouns, if that feels good for you, and whatever questions that you have, something where you're like, I need an outside perspective. I don't know who to talk to about this. Like, how do I see my way out? Our number is 971-895-4111, or you can email us at
thekings@honestfeedbackpodcast.com. So please reach out to us. We can't do this without you, and this is what we live for. So
please subscribe, like, rate, and review us however you would like to be a part of our community. We are open for everyone to be a part. We want to see this grow. We want everyone to be seen, be heard, get some feedback.
yeah, and until we see you again, be honest with each other.
Yes.